and all the trees were down and everything. But I had lunch with a fellow, a friend of mine, and actually two of them, and one of them was from the Bank of England, and he says, "You never guess what's going on over at my office." And I said, "What?" And, of course, this was after the second pint. And he said the U.S., through the IMF, is selling gold, and he just knocked it down $100 illegally. So this is nothing new, and this is as damaging as what happened during late 1987. And that's why the Working Group and Financial Markets Executive Order was executed and finalized in August of the following year by Ronald Reagan. He was misled. Sure, he wanted to save markets when they were collapsing. Anybody would. But what these people have done, the Goldmans and the Morgans and so on, Treasury and the Fed, what they've done is use it 24/7 in every market in the world, rigging it. A command economy.
Bob, let's stop there.
Wait a minute. The same thing that Adolf Hitler had. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt and start over. We're going to break in about 4 minutes, but start over. For laymen that have tuned in, we have a lot of new listeners. We've probably gotten 30, 40 new affiliates in the last 2 months. For people that don't know what the Plunge Protection Team is, for people that don't know what a command economy is with insider banks, the top 6 banks running it, explain to people what happened in 87 and what's happening today and what happened yesterday.
The stock market collapsed, and when it was collapsing, they collapsed gold deliberately so people wouldn't think that there was something terribly wrong, when in fact there was. They've been doing that again under this Working Group in Financial Markets, also known as the Plunge Protection Team, made up of the Secretary of the Treasury, the head of the Federal Reserve, head of the Fed of New York, head of the SEC, and the CFTC. And they have crews that work 24/7, and their orders generally come either from the Treasury or the Fed, and they have a joint committee as well. And so they're in there rigging all the time, and this has been going on for a long time. And so this is why you can't get true markets. And the differences between what's going on now and what has gone on before is in this command economy, it's a combination of corporate entities and government working together. In fact, the corporate entities control the government, and they controlled all the politicians who they can buy off, which is most all of them. That's why it's so important. You got to kick all these incumbents out in this coming election, both in the House and those who are running in the Senate, to give us a chance of implementing something that will change the course. Get rid of the Patriot Acts, get rid of executive orders, lobbying, campaign contributions. I mean, the Federal Reserve. I could go on and on. And that's the course we've got to take.
Now, Bob, to inject a question here, yesterday listening to News Radio 590 after I got off air, I heard broker after broker, and I heard private day trader after day trader, and then I went and looked it up and found out that this indeed did happen. The news reported it, but just as a minor footnote, that while this was happening, everyone was locked out of the stock markets, and so the public couldn't go in and buy while it was going down. They couldn't buy while it was going up. And as you said, the black boxes took over. And so they can't say, hey, we rigged the market. They tell you somebody had a fat finger. But even CNBC has had analysts on saying, look, it was a whole bunch of stocks. This wasn't just Procter & Gamble. And it was huge plunges on the European stock exchanges that caused this. So they think we're so dumb, they basically tell us a cow kicked over a lantern.
Well, you're absolutely right. And those people saying those things were right as well. The black box trading has got to be stopped. Derivatives have to be terminated. And that's part of the things that we have to change.
Well, let's explain what black box trading is and your perspectives on where the economy is going. Dr. Roberts on with us a few weeks ago said that he is now revising his forecast and saying we could have a full-bore total depression even quicker. We're basically already in. This is the brainwashing that's going on. I don't want to just hog Bob Chapman to myself today. We're going to take tweet questions at twitter.com/TheRealAlexJones for people that want to ask specific questions for Bob Chapman. We're going to open the phones up for specific questions on the economy, on the global meltdown. Stock traders can call in, people who were locked out during this controlled plunge and the pumping it back up with Bob Chapman today. Bob, I mean, when they say somebody with a fat finger did this, that destroys confidence right there. But it also trains the public that, it can go up and down all day. This is not your opinion. This is on record that there's the plunge protection team. It's on record it's used all over the world. It's on record it's used by insiders, and that Goldman Sachs and others have special computer programs that defraud this. But still, I was on a radio show yesterday, and they were doubting me that this even exists. People better find out about this, shouldn't they?
Absolutely. And they're in denial, many of these people. They never heard this before. They don't want to hear it. And if they did hear it, they don't want to talk about it because it might cost them their job. So you have this giant blackmail going on something that is an historical fact, something that functions 24/7 and has since 1988. I mean, we're not only seeing it in the gold and silver market, we're seeing it in commodities, we're seeing it in the stock market, all over the world. And this is international fascism, is what it is.
And they're holding nations hostage, saying you will raise taxes, you will give us trillions of dollars globally every month. We won't tell your Bundes, we won't tell your Reichstag, we won't tell your Parliament, we won't tell your Congress where the money went. How big is this to have Merkel come out and say, quote, Goldman Sachs and the banks are treacherous and engineered this? I mean, that's a quote.
And that's right. And she's terrified that they're going to lose the election, which I think is tomorrow in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is northwest Germany. And, it's economic survival because she approved the German participation in the bailout, and 63% of Germans were against it. And incidentally, from its very inception of the euro, 69% of men and 71% of women have not wanted the euro in Germany.
Okay, so that was that clip from Bob Chapman. Just to give you a little more confirmation on what happened this last week regarding this, some ways we compare how the game is totally rigged, how they've got software, these black boxes, and this plunge protection team that totally rigged the game. Now, if you want to know more about that, I give you the link here, and it's a multi-part interview. I just don't want to play any more for now. I just want to give you kind of an overview there.